What's going on, guys? I'm Landon from Shoewear, and today we are checking out the best basketball shoe ever, according to Amazon's ratings. The pro NBA player Lou Williams' signature shoe with Peak. Let's do it. Alright, so this is a little bit of a different type of review, or I guess maybe it's not. I mean, I normally review basketball shoes, and this is a basketball shoe, but I'll be honest, this is the first pair of shoes I've had in my hand that isn't from like one of the more established brands. We'll go with that, like Nike, Adidas, Jordan, and so on. But let's just attack this the same way because, of course, we have to see how it compares to be consistent. So before we get into the shoe review itself, though, let's go ahead and hit on the box and the price first. So for the box, these do come in a red box with the Peak logo on the top, on the side, on the back, on the bottom. It's everywhere. And I found it weird, though, because with shoe lines such as Kevin Durant, Curry, Harden, those signature shoe lines, you'll see their name at least somewhere on the box, but there's no Lou Williams on this red box. So that kind of leads me to believe that most, if not all, Peak shoes come in a pretty basic or like similar shoe box, because there are other pro athletes that have had their shoes through Peak as well. So as for pricing, yeah, that's not really going to be comparable to many other shoes. So I guess it does kind of look like these retailed for $110 when they first dropped, but that's about the same price as Giannis's shoe with Nike, so that probably didn't last very long at that price. Because right now, these are going for $60 a pop on Amazon. So that's just a number you're probably never going to hear again mentioned during one of these shoe reviews, because it's so low, $60. And then especially not for next week, because we have the Zion shoe review coming out next week. Not $60. But that would probably factor into why this is one of the best selling and the #1 rated basketball shoe on Amazon. So that has to mean something, even if it's small. But that covers the box. Alright, so before we jump into the performance aspect of these shoes, let's take a quick look at the appearance and just the overall design on them first. So we're looking at sort of like a South Beach colorway for this Peak shoe, but first let me really quick touch on Lou Williams. So this dude is just a certified scorer in the NBA. He grew up in the league mentored by Allen Iverson, so I'll just leave it at that. But although he is a multiple-time Sixth Man of the Year award winner, that's not like quite the same as being an all-star / like MVP status, and I'm not hating at all because of course I have absolutely no room to talk, but that would be why, in my humble opinion, that he has a shoe deal with Peak and not with like Nike, Jordan, Adidas, etc. And really quick, just to inform you all, since I didn't know, Peak has only been around for about 30 years, and they specialize in designing and creating athletic shoes and just kind of various other sporting products and accessories. But now let's go ahead and just jump back into this shoe design. So these $60 sneakers are available in 10 different colorways, and more than 10 different colorways right now that you should go and check out. I went with the like light blue and the pink color on these because I just like, normally I like brighter colors because they help draw out and break down what's going on the shoe. So first they made up this for this like no name on the box pretty quickly, because you got Lou Will's initials on the tongue, you have his full name that runs on the back of the heel, and then they finished that off with his signature on the toe box. And you know, they really should have done something around these initials right here on the tongue, because that black surrounding, it just makes it look kind of plain to me. And I say that because then you look at like the back half of these, and they've got like that whole beach and like city backdrop vibe going on with like the palm trees and the skyscrapers and stuff like that. So although Amazon has these labeled something like Palette Paris or something like that, I'm going with the Lou Will South Beach on these shoes. And I do like that black speckled midsole that kind of runs along the shoe with the Peak logo, but these translucent pieces that finish it off, I'm not a fan of those. To me, it almost ends up looking like a boot. And I'm probably nitpicking a little bit too much, but I actually do like this mesh or fly net right here, whatever you want to call it, on the upper. I wouldn't say that it feels super durable, but hey, it looks nice, and that's half the battle right there. So basketball shoes, though, you know, they're made to do more than just look pretty, and I wouldn't say that these are necessarily even doing that. So let's go ahead and check out the real purpose for this review, how they hold up on court. All right, so to finish off this review, I'll go ahead and combine the materials, the comfort, the traction, which is basically how these hold up for performance. Now this is, as I've made pretty clear by now, a brand that I'm not super used to dealing with, and that especially includes like the features and the materials that go into these. So I'll kind of give you the info that they put out, and then I'll follow that up by like what I took away from actually testing them out on court. So one of the main points is keeping this shoe breathable, and on that upper, I'd say that definitely happened on this shoe. Now, once again, I'm not gonna vouch for like the durability on that upper because it is pretty thin, but it's definitely gonna have some give to your feet, and it just gives them a chance to breathe. And it isn't super firm on cuts, but I didn't notice like any drastic flaws in that area. So these also feature like a slightly warped toe area, and that's going to be where the signature is on the toe box right there. And the point of that is whenever you're making drives or cuts like that, that extra covering is gonna like help prevent from your shoe dragging and like it getting up in that Flyknit material, because if that piece starts to come apart, then the whole shoe is pretty much going to fall apart if it separates in that region. But the sad part of that is you may not get to have Lou Williams signature on your shoe for too long if it starts to rub off over time. And I can't quite figure out what materials make up like this beach and this like skyscraper back portion, but like rubbing my hands across it sort of reminds me of like movie theater cushions. That's just sort of the texture and the feel to that part. I don't really think it's important, but that was my snap thought whenever I touched that. But now looking at the outsole, although it does remind me a little bit of a boot, it's going to be made up of entirely rubber. So while you might be lacking a little bit in the durability for the upper portion, you're going to be extremely durable on that bottom half for outdoor use especially. And it did slip a little bit on sharp cuts indoors, but Peak does actually target this as a more durable outdoor basketball option, so definitely keep that in mind. And then for the cushioning, which seemed to get pretty solid reviews across the board, I was pretty underwhelmed. Now I will admit that I have been testing out the newest Nike, Jordan, Adidas, those basketball shoes with like cutting edge technology. And then I switched straight to this, how would you say, more budget friendly option. But it wasn't as responsive or bouncy as most basketball shoes, but these do feature like a Peak stabilization module, and that like rolls up the outside of your forefoot and it like bulges outwards to kind of prevent ankle sprains on sharp lateral cuts, which is super nice. And then back to the outsole for traction. The traction pattern on these is like really, really deep. It has deep grooves, so it's not gonna like get chipped or wear down quickly if you're using these over and over again outside. And then once again, this does feature Peak's own wear resistant rubber, which helps the shoe adapt to any type of surface that you might be playing on. And then to kind of finish off with sizing, that is where these get a little bit weird. So instead of like your typical full and half sizing, these actually start at a men's 7, and they do go all the way up to 14, but the only half sizing in there is 7.5 and 9.5. Because other than that, it goes straight 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And that put me in a tough spot because I'm a size 10.5. So I went ahead and tried out the 11 because I prefer a little more room rather than having a tighter fit. Come to find out, maybe I should have read the reviews a little closer, because most people chose the smaller size because these run big. And most people would be correct. I definitely should have gone with the 10 on these, and I had more room than I needed by a lot. But I will say it still wasn't as big as the Future Natural Hardens that came out this year. I will never get over how big those were on my feet. It was crazy. But overall, we're talking $60, guys, for a shoe targeted for more of an outdoor use. If you want to scuff up your Kobe's, your KD's, Hardens, Jordans, whatever it may be outside, be my guest. But the Peak Lou Will basketball shoes aren't half bad for less than half the price. Alright, so that pretty much wraps up our unboxing and performance review on the #1 rated basketball shoe on Amazon, the Peak Lou Williams. So thank you guys for taking some time to watch, and if you're interested in purchasing these shoes, make sure you check out that link in the description below. And then feel free, if you haven't already, to sign up for Rakuten as well, because they're going to give you cash back across all the platforms and websites that you were going to be buying shoes anyways, and they'll give you some money for that. And then also be sure to click the link in our bio, and from there you can find our shoes that are available for sale on our website. And then you can also head over to our social media, and that's where you can kind of stay informed on upcoming sneaker releases. And then lastly, just feel free to leave a comment below on if you like this review, or just let us know if you want us to review any other shoes in the future to check those out. But until next review, I'm Landon from Shoewear. Peace.